I'm going to give you my guesstimate as to when the Iranian attack is going to occur, when they're going to attack Iran. And I'm not trying to make a name for myself here or anything. I'm trying to position myself in oil before this happens, and can't stop the attack, right? So we're going to try to make some money on the oil. Let me put it this way, though. I think that, well, I was thinking there was going to be a hiccup with this. Well, I call it a hiccup, whatever. That's a technical term, right? As far as the euro goes with the Greek bailout package, and it looks like that's happening. And I did make a bet on USLV, and I was hoping to get out of there really fast, and I didn't. So I should have, but I didn't. I have to hold on that, but it was a small bet. This article goes into some things, and I was almost thinking, well, let's not get into conspiracies, but let's just think of the way business is. Say, for instance, you're going to be one of the people. Well, say you want events to go a certain way, and you want to know ahead of time. I think you can delay this. I'm being a little like conspiratorial here, but let me put it this way. I think this is the way it goes. From what I've seen, this is how it goes all the time, okay? I haven't seen it on this level, but I've seen other things. This is how it goes. If you could delay, like say for instance, if I was doing this, if this was me, I would try to delay this package with the Greek bailout to make the market sink. Now, I think the attack on Iran is going to come in spring. So you'd want the markets to sink first to bring down the oil prices and stuff, and bring them way up. That's my guess. If I was them, that's what I would do. So, but just thinking the way I think might make sense. Doesn't mean it's going to happen that way, because a lot of times they think they're going to do something and they don't do it the way I would do it, because maybe they're stupid, right? I don't know. But it says the euro hits a 3-week low versus the dollar on a bailout delay worries, right? And it goes right into this technical analysis right on here. The euro fell 0.4% to 130, slipping below important support, including a 38.2% Fibonacci retracement of its rally this year at 130.56 and its 55-day moving average of 130.52, and 50% retracement of the same rally at 129.74 is seen as the next possible target. So I don't know. It's just maybe I'm too suspicious or something, but I would try to, if I was somebody, a mover. They always say that there's people behind the scenes that are moving the markets, but they can only move them so far. Oh, I think that is a fact, and I don't think that's cloak and dagger's conspiracy theory. I think that's just human nature, reality, and its shrewdness. It's my guess they're going to move this. They're going to bail out Greece. The euro is going to be fine for a while. It's not going to get screwed up, at least for many more months. Maybe it'll happen more till the end of the year, but it's got a lot of months, and this Greek bailout package is going to happen. I think there's going to be like some stuff to scare the markets. It's going to bring the precious metals down. And I saw an indication about Amex selling, doing nice sales on metals, and usually they seem to have a good word ahead of time of what's going to happen. And I'd imagine oil might drift lower, because it went up not because of fundamentals or anything like that, or good news on the euro. It went up because there was an attack on Israelis. So I don't know if you want to get out of it or not, but that's up to you. I mean, it's hard to know, but I would think they're going to drive this market down a little bit in the short term. which is bad neuro news, and it's going to get straightened out. And this is something, and this is probably the key to what's going on. And this guy, he writes in here, he says, as I wrote previously, the springtime is a prime time for attacking Iran, because there's a good chance that Russia will be in turmoil because of its March 2012 election. The Russian opposition to Putin is financed by Washington, just like Putin's saying, and encouraged by Washington's statements, especially those of Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. Whether Putin wins or there is an indecisive result in a runoff election, Washington's money will put tens of thousands of Russians onto the streets, just as Washington's money has created the Green Revolution in Iran to protest the presidential elections there. So, it's not only the timing of the weather, because you can't really do it in the winter, you got to wait till the spring. It works pretty good with the Putin election too. So, I mean, that could make sense. It makes a lot of sense. It goes on to say, on February 4, 2012, the former left-wing British newspaper, The Guardian, reported a pre-election protest by 120,000 anti-Putin demonstrators marching in Moscow, and demanding fair elections. In other words, Washington already made its minions, declaring that the win by Putin in March can only signify stolen election. The problem for Obama is that this spring, this is where I really want to get into. The problem for Obama is that this spring is too early to tell whether his re-election is threatened by a Republican candidate. Going to war prematurely, especially if the result is a stiff rise in oil prices, is not an aid to re-election. But I also got to look at it this way, like I always looked at it, that the elite, or not the elite, I almost hate to say that word. It's almost like the people that are on the higher up part of the chain of command, whatever you want to call them. I don't know. The power, the people, more powerful people, the people who are in control. It's quite obvious that since Obama is cutting out all these tax breaks for the oil companies, I think the oil companies can care less about his re-election. So, if the oil companies have a lot of influence as to what's going on in politics, as far as, geopolitical events and financing this and that, or making some politician do this or that, they could probably get, this part about, affecting Obama's re-election bid because the oil prices would go up. I think the oil companies can care less about that. They get him out of office, they make a lot more money, install a guy in there that says we're going to have a whole bunch of tax breaks for the oil companies, and they'd be all happy. So, my bet is, I think it's going to be this spring. That's what I think. But obviously, I don't know. And, I'm kind of leaning this way more, too, because Lindsey Williams said more like September. I'm beginning not to believe anything this guy says. I'm thinking it's more like this spring. But I don't know if it's going to be like early March or anything like that. It might be a little later. It might be just like mid-March, April. Could be April. I don't know. But I don't think it would be summer, because the weather might not be right. The best time actually is in the springtime, from what I heard. So, if you see the oil prices start dropping because of this scare with the euro, that might be a good thing to move into. And I'm going to make a bet on that too. But that depends on if it goes down or not. If it doesn't go down, I don't know. I'm not sure. It depends on what it does. I mean, if it goes up to 103, 104, and it goes down to 100, maybe I'll buy it at 100 because I'll consider it'll bounce up again. But if I buy it really cheap, say for instance it goes down to some crazy price, I probably won't wait to that anyway. But say it went down to 95, I'd probably, I'd probably hold on it longer. But that depends. Depends, and predicting these geopolitical events is really what can put you in the money if you can predict them, but they are tough to predict. But what I think though is like there is no set plan. I think you got a couple groups in there that compete with each other. You got people in there. Quite obviously, the oil companies do not control Obama, and if Obama's raising the taxes on them and taking out their tax breaks, maybe they want to get rid of them. And the best way to get rid of them is to jack up the oil prices. Create some kind of problem. I mean, there is some intramural competition going on here between the people that run this country. It's always been that way, and that's not necessarily a conspiracy in the least. So it's my guess that oil's probably going to go down a little bit. I don't know. That's what I'm thinking. Because I think this euro's having its hiccup right now, and that's also hitting the gold and silver right now too. Gold, silver, platinum, palladium, probably all of them. They're all going out slightly. The oil's going out slightly too. So that might be the play, but figure around springtime. And this article is, I mean, there's foreign affairs calling for this stuff. They've been calling for it for quite some time. But it's going to happen, I think, this spring. I just don't know if it's going to be as late as May. I mean, it could be May. I don't know. I'm thinking it's going to happen this spring. So it's good to be positioned in the right place for this if it's going to happen, because predicting geopolitical events is going to keep you in the money. Now, if oil spikes up and then it goes down right away, I don't think, like, in other words, say for instance they do this attack, and oil goes up $20-$30 a barrel inside of like no time. Me, I'm out of oil. Goodbye. Thank you. I took the money. If I'm in it. That's exactly what I'm going to do. And I know it sounds terrible to talk about this stuff, but you know what? Because there's a war going on and all this stuff is going on, but there's absolutely nothing I could do about that. Nothing. Period. Nothing. So, I mean, if Iran wants to stop trying to get nuclear weapons, I know I know a lot of people don't believe that, but you know what? They are trying to get nuclear weapons, and I'm going to ad-lib a little bit on that because the reason I say that is because it's a given. They wouldn't be putting up with all these sanctions, and they wouldn't be bothering with all this nuclear material and all this garbage over some electricity when they're sitting on so much oil reserves and natural gas. They're getting an infinitesimal amount of electricity out of this nuclear program compared to what they got in the ground. It's a joke and a half. Obviously, they're playing a good scam. Now, why are they playing a good scam like this? Because the United States, or our stupid elite, I'll put them that way, our stupid elite, went ahead when they put this Shah in office. And this is one thing that aggravates me. I don't care that they put the Shah in office because they had another guy in here before that nationalized all the oil wells and they lost all their interest in the country. And they put the Shah in to get everything back and get control. That I don't have a problem with. To tell you the truth, I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with the United States going around and maybe trying to control the world somewhat. I don't really have a problem with that. What I have a problem with is this Shah is doing all this rotten stuff in Iran, and he's stupid. I'm telling you, they're stupid. You know why? Because not only are they evil, they're not even looking at the money it's costing them. Even if they just looked at the money, they would have made another decision. They could have got rid of this Shah, and they could have put another guy in there that was humane, and they still could have had their cut from the oil or whatever the hell it is, and they've been all happy with their money. But no, they got to freaking just look at the money. They got to look only at how much money's coming in their pockets, what the numbers are, balance sheets, income statements, production that's going on, and As long as that's good, the Shah could do whatever he wants. Herein lies the problem. And you know what? Guys like that aren't fit to lead. You know, they want to rule the world, whatever they want to do. They're not fit to lead, period. If they want to rule the world, they got to do it humanely. And I think that is one of the intramural problems going on between the elite, too. So, they could have easily knocked out this shot that was, and they would have never had a problem in Iran after that. Everything would have been fine. Everything would have been fine. That's why they're stupid in a way. But, the situation has come down to this. So there's going to be an attack on Iran. And I think it's going to be in the spring. And I think oil is going to float down some because of this Euro thing. It's my guess. I don't know. And right now I'm holding off because I'm thinking it's going to float down. But I could be missing it. I don't know for sure. But that's my guess.